Look, this is a very default range input that you can create with this input tag. And this is a radial range slider that I was built yesterday, and today I thought with myself to make a tutorial out of it. In this video I want to describe what is a transform origin, understand and how to use the arcton2 function for the progress bar to follow the cursor, and how to fix a touch screen's bug on moving the button. So in our HTML file I have a container to hold everything down, and in wrapper to hold all these items inside. And within these basic divs, I have an outer circle and an inner circle. Why there are two circles? So if I comment this inner circle and save it, it shows like this. Why? Because I use conic-gradient for outer circle to show our progress. I believe using a switchy was a better option, but in this video I used conic-gradient to make it less complicated. So inner circle is basically hide this inner part with the background of our main background. Inside the inner circle I have a button, that's basically our button to change the progress, and a percent to display the percent of progress. That's all for our HTML file. Next we're going to style and CSS part. So if I skip unnecessary parts, we'll come to container that I use flex to center everything, and in wrapper part I set 300 and 300 for size and the position relative. I have an outer circle 100% and 100%. That means the size of wrapper. Then there is a border radius that I don't know why it's 100% when 50% is enough, and a background color of exa 1666. Also the display is flex and everything is centered down again. And in inner circle I set width to 90%, so there is a 10% gap between these two circles, and a border radius of 50% of course, and this color of background itself. Again I use the flex box to center everything for our percent part. I skip this one for now, and in percent part I have a font size 3 rem and a font weight of bold. Lastly we come to the button class, which has a 35 pixel width and height, a gold background, solid with 5 pixel border with our body color, a border radius, and an absolute position which places it within the last positioned ancestor in our elements, which in our case it's wrapper because of this relative position. And under it there is a top minus 10 pixel. By default it would stick to the top side of our wrapper. I wanted to place it on this gap border though, so I need to move it slightly to the top. I do it by minus 10 pixel top, and that's nearly on center of this gap. But the crucial part in this element is the transform origin. If you don't know what does transform origin do, if you come to the MDN web docs, you could see that the default behavior of transform origin is the center. So it determines the origin of our shape for transformations, like this rotation. If we're going to change it like top left, it would move the origin point to the top left. That means the rotation would go around this point, and we can do any custom value here as well. In our case, for the x-axis I use a center, that means the center of our inner circle. By default this button is going to rotate around itself. Like if I make a rotation here, it's 45 degrees, it wouldn't move at all, because if I comment this line, as you can see, it's rotated around itself, but I want it to rotate around this inner circle, not itself. So I need to use this transform origin, as you can see. And for y-axis I use the 160. Actually it was 150 pixel, but as you remember, we move it a bit top, so I need to add it here as well. And if I change this value, it's always on this gap border. I remove this part because we change it on the script side, not here. It's all the CSS we need. So I'm going to explain the script part. Firstly, we need to select some of these elements. The button to control the events of button press, release, and everything about button. The person to change the value of this text, and an outer circle that you will soon find out. So a button, that means button. I use query selector with the class name, the outer circle, and the percent. For a start, I attach the button events. For the first event, I use the mouse down. Within it, I use the window that add event listener, mouse move, handled by a handler function. So if I press this button down and move it everywhere, in every pixel the mouse move event would be called. That means our handler function would be called as well. And then I use the mouse up event here to remove this mouse move event listener. Mouse move handler. So if I press this button, the mouse move event would be called at every pixel I move my cursor. And when I release the button, it would remove the event listener. That means by pressing it, the mouse move would be called, and when releasing it, the handler would be removed. So it wouldn't follow my cursor after I release the mouse button. For handler, I use a function. I need the event. I use the event argument passed by event listener because we need the event page X and page Y. The page X and page Y means the value of page X and page Y is our cursor position. So if I click on this button and move my cursor, the value of page X and page Y will change at every movement my cursor do. So by default, 0, 0 is here top left, X is 0 and Y is also 0. And if I move it here, X would be increase, and move it down, Y would increase. So why I need these properties anyway? Because I need to rotate this button around this circle with my cursor position. But how could we find out that when I put my mouse here at the position 279 and 96 means 45 degree? I want to somehow convert this position to angle and use it for our button. For that, we can use the math.aton2 function, which gives an y and x number. If you have no clue what does this function do, I'm going to tell you a brief explanation. If we consider our page is a coordinate plane, and this point is where my mouse has been clicked, we can get the angle from x-axis and origin of plane to my point using arctan2. It only needs the coordinate by order of y and x, and it will return the angle in radian, which obviously we can change it to degree by multiply it to 180 divided by pi number. And that's all thing we need to know about arctan itself. But here there are some issues. If you remember, the client x and client y are started from here, not at the center of our slider circle. Therefore, I need to somehow change the numbers that it will fit to our new coordinate plane. For a start, I create an x variable for my event page x for now, and the y for my event page y. And as I said, by using math.arctan2 and passing y and x, I can get the angle by radian. So I need to convert it to degree by multiply it 180 divided by math.pi. And that's all I need to get the degree. But as I said, there are problems here, like page x and page y are start from here. But I want it to start from here, so I can get the angle from this circle particularly. To do that, I just need to decrease the number of x by half the size of this screen. So I like if there was a way to get the size of this section, the space between the circle and the left side of our screen. So to get it, there is some particular method to do that. I want this left side of our outer circle, and I use the getBoundingClientRect. This method will give us an object contains some valuable information. So I have the rect and my x to be decreased by the rect.left. .left is the exact size of space between my circle and the left of the screen. And now my coordinate start from here, but I need it to start from here. How can I do that? I just need to get the size of this outer circle in pixels and divide it by 2. So I will have the size of half of this circle. Doing that is actually simple. Just add the rect.width. And rect.width is the full width size of this circle. So I can divide it by 2. And that's actually what we wanted. Decrease the number so I can move our coordinate start from here instead of here. And for y is the same. Just use rect.top added by rect.height divided by 2. And if I log this x and y number, you can see the values. Here in my console, you can see that my x value is exactly 0 at this particular point. But my y is a little bit weird. Like obviously my y value at the top of the coordinate is obviously a positive number, not the negative number. And at the bottom of the coordinate is obviously a negative number, not a positive number. To fix it, I can simply negate this whole value. And now if I save, the values are completely correct. And I'm going to log the angle value to show you that is exactly what we wanted. Here, if I move my mouse around this circle, you can see here is the 90 degree because the arctan starts from here unclockwise. Here is 0 degree and here is 90 degree. Also here is 180 degree. That's our second problem, because I don't want the angle to start from here, and also I want it to be clockwise, not unclockwise. To fix this, I just need to do some additional work. First thing, I need to make it clockwise. That's so simple. I just need to make it negative. And if I like this one, you can see here the 0 degree and here is a 9 degree. And the other thing, I need to subtract this angle by 90 degree. And now if I start here, the angle is 0. If I move it right, the angle is 90 degree. And if move it all the way down, it will 180 degree. And our third problem is if I move my mouse here at the left, it shows a negative 90 degree. And that's actually correct because there is no difference between 270 degree and the minus 90 degree. But in our case, I wanted to make it normalized for showing the percentage. So before do that, I'm going to write a new function to handle this better. A set angle function that will get an unnormalized angle argument. And I want to change this unnormalized angle to a normalized angle. So I will create and I will write another variable called angle, and I will check if the unnormalized angle is less than 0 or not. If it was less than 0, just return the unnormalized angle added by 360 degree. So if we assume the unnormalized angle is negative 90 degree, by adding 360 degree, it will to change the normalized value that is 270. And if it was not less than 0, just return the unnormalized angle itself. So I write my function and I used function here, set angle, and the unnormalized angle is here. So I start from our main goal, that is moving this button around this circle. In order to do that, I just need to change the value of button.style, not computed style, but style.transform to a new value. I use the rotate z, and here I pass the angle to this rotate z function and add a suffix deg to show that it is a degree number. Now I save the file and I can move this button wherever I want. Now I want to also show the progress bar following this button. To do that, I use a particular CSS function for background called conic-gradient. The conic-gradient is just a CSS gradient function that shows like this. But I need to change it a bit to make the colors separate sharply. So I can use this example here that it shows we need to determine an start degree and an end degree for each color we want. For first parameter, I use the gold color, start from 0. I don't need to write that because the first parameter we always start from 0, so I just need to write the angle percent. I don't have any angle percent, but I can create myself. Just angle percent equals to angle divided by 360 60 times 100. And it will convert my angle to a percent number. The angle percent and the percent character, obviously. I also need the second value, that's my background color, 666, and the 0 number. What does it mean is that the gold color will start from 0. I don't need to write that because by default the first parameter is set from 0 to the percent number. And all the remaining area are colored with the 666. So now if I move this circle, you can see the progress is following this button and it works like a charm. For next, I just want to change the value of this number here. I select this here, so I just need to change the percent.inner text to my angle percent and the percent character. Now I save it. Why, it's a weird number. Oh, don't worry, it's just because the angle is not rounded. I just need to math.round this number because if it's a float number and I need to floor around it. Now if I move this, you can see the value will change and it's working completely. There are also some issues like what should I do in this state where I can overlap the progress with my previous progress. So there's a simple solution. For that, I just need to check something here. And that something is that I want to compare my angle with my last angle. What is last angle? The last angle is the angle from my previous frame that I had. So I just need to create a last angle here with a default value of 0. And down here, I just need to give it the value of the angle. So the last angle will always be a frame before the angle. Usually the difference between these two numbers is just 1 or 2, like the angle is 3 and the last angle is just a previous state of 3, that is 2. But here I will jump from 360 to 0. That's a huge jump and a huge change from angle and last angle. I just need to wrap it around the math.absolute. So it will always give me the difference between these two values in a positive number. And I just need to check if this change is a huge number, like 180 degree. And in here, I just need to close this function completely. I don't need to change the values anymore. So I can just return the function. Now, if I move this to right, it will work fine. And if I move it to the left, it wouldn't overlap with my previous progress. But I can jump to 50%. That I believe is a normal behavior. And after 100 pet set, it also won't overlap with my previous progress number. And that's it. It's the circle I wanted. You can change it yourself, like add something to it or make it better any way you like. Like if I press here, the progress bar will going to jump over here. I don't know why didn't I implement this, but it's not a big deal. You can just add an event to outer circle. Or maybe something like I believe it wouldn't work on touch devices. Somehow it find the button of touch behavior. If I move this one, you can see it wouldn't work on touch devices. To fix this one, instead of mouse down, I can use the pointer down. The pointer down is like mouse down, but it also supports the touch devices. For mouse move, also we need to pointer move, and for mouse up, I need to pointer up. Now if I use this, you can see it moving, but there is also the scroll issue. The scroll issue here. There are many ways to fix it, but an easy one is to just going to the outer circle here. No, which one? The button. And for button, I just need to add an touch action to, I believe, none. And it also will work on touch devices. I don't know how to make an outro, so did you know there is a like button over here with a cool animation at the right side of a subscribe button with an even cooler animation?